Hi, everyone. You are listening to Radio Cherry Bomb, and I'm your host, Carrie Diamond. I'm the founder and editor of Cherry Bomb magazine. We're back with another sizzling episode of our Sexy Italian Summer miniseries. Today, and over the next few Wednesdays, we're celebrating all things Italy, La Dolce Vita, Cucina Italiana, and the incredible women who bring it all to life. Today's guest is Angie Rito, the co-chef and co-owner of Don Angie and San Sabino, two of New York City's most popular Italian-American restaurants. Angie and her husband Scott have taken classic Italian dishes and given them a bold, modern update. Dishes like their now famous rolled lasagna and chrysanthemum salad. Angie is also co-author of the cookbook Italian-American, Red Sauce Classics and New Essentials, and she's helping define what Italian-American cooking is all about today. Joyful, generous, and full of flavor. Angie and I talk about what she's eating and drinking this summer, what she always keeps stocked in her fridge to eat like an Italian and like a chef, and what it was like when San Sabino was featured in Sarah Jessica Parker's And Just Like That this season. Stay tuned for my chat with Angie Rito. This episode of Sexy Italian Summer is brought to you by Nonino, the family-owned, female-led Italian distillery that's redefining what's in your glass this summer. Their secret? Spirits that take your Aperitivo hour from basic to bellissima in one sip. As you're planning your Aperitivo hour, there's no better place to start than with the famous paper plane cocktail. It's a cinch to make, as it's equal parts Nonino Amaro, Aperol, bourbon, and lemon juice. The paper plane is bright, bittersweet, and looks like summer in a glass. If a spritz is more your style, there's L'Aperitivo Nonino. Floral and fresh, L'Aperitivo Nonino can be topped with Prosecco or sparkling grapefruit soda and a squeeze of lime for a refreshing twist on the summertime classic. And then there's Grappa, the signature spirit of the Nonino family. They were the first to take the grape seeds and skin left from the winemaking process and create single varietal Grappa. When you sip a Grappa made by the Noninos, you'll realize it's been crafted with all the care of a fine wine. Whether you sip it or use it in your cocktails, Nonino Grappa is the perfect finale to that Aperitivo hour you're planning. Feel free to invite us over. One last thing, Nonino is the result of 6 generations of strong, visionary women shaping the brand. Now that's a legacy. Chin chin to that. Today's show is also presented by Square. We know so many of you are out there making culinary magic happen, running restaurants, bars, bakeries, and coffee shops. You're juggling staffing and sourcing while dreaming big. New locations, must-have menu items, and more customers. We see your hustle, and so does Square, the point-of-sale technology that helps you manage everything, all from one place, from payments to staff, customers, and insights. A little bit about Square. 15 years ago, not all businesses could accept credit cards. Hard to believe, but true. Square set out to change that, inventing the first mobile card reader of its kind. This allowed businesses to take payments anywhere and keep thriving. Square's tools unlocked countless opportunities for small businesses. Today, Square is helping more than 7 million businesses save time and be more efficient. Their tools are like having a tech-savvy sous chef for your business, one that helps automate emails and texts to customers, run sales reports, and create loyalty programs. Just in time for summer dining, Square has a new lightweight point-of-sale device that literally fits in your pocket. Called Square Handheld, it lets you take tableside orders, process payments, and manage inventory. When your restaurant is on your mind, which is probably all the time, think big and stress less with Square. Go to square.com/big to see how Square can help you. The link is in our show notes. Now, let's check in with today's guest. Angie Rito, welcome back to Radio Cherry Bomb.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, the big question, Angie, are you having a sexy Italian summer?
Always, even when it's not summer. That is my vibe.
Okay, I love that sexy Italian summer is your vibe, 365 days a year. Tell me, why is everybody so obsessed with Italy?
Clearly, I'm biased. I'm obsessed with Italy for a number of reasons. But, I think to me, it's, one of the most, if not the most beautiful place in the world in terms of, the scenery. And then it's just, I think, just so culturally rich with the architecture and the art and the music and clearly, the food and even the people. I don't know, you go to Naples and just how the people interact with each other and they're moving their hands. It's just such a unique and wonderful place. And there's something about that kind of like, La Dolce Vita lifestyle, it's just this kind of carefree, beautiful lifestyle, just immersed in this beautiful setting. And, I think who doesn't want to aspire to that? It's great.
Agreed. How does one have a sexy Italian summer if you can't go to Italy?
One of my favorite things to do in Italy is go to like Aperitivo. I feel like you can easily kind of like recreate that sort of situation at home or just like anywhere really, just like a whole bunch of snacks and some sort of like, it doesn't have to be like the bright red, Aperol Spritz vibe beverage. I mean, it's great if it is, but just any sort of like fizzy, fresh beverage. I feel like you have that, you have some Italian snacks. Doesn't really matter like where you are. I just feel like, that in itself is a vibe.
I love a spritzy drink and
Yes.
some Italian snacks. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Let's say it's just you and Scott. Do you guys have a backyard?
We don't. We have like a kind of like a little rooftop on our apartment that we hang on, and we live in Dumbo, Brooklyn, so we kind of like overlook the water. That's another thing too. If you're fortunate enough to be around water or even just a pool or whatever, I feel like that contributes to that kind of feeling.
Okay, so you and Scott are on your rooftop. What are you eating and drinking as you recreate sexy Italian summer?
I mean, I always try to have on hand just like a whole bunch of different fruit. I mean, whether it's, whatever, grapes, strawberries, and, figs if you can get them, whatever. Different cheeses, different salumi, different like crispy, crunchy things, crackers and chips, olives, marinated vegetables. Like I always have just like all that stuff in our fridge, and you could just like any moment kind of like whip out a whole board of snacks. Yeah, and anytime we entertain or have people over, that's the move is we'll just make big, trays of just like a bunch of different little like finger foods.
I'm fascinated by the fact that you have a full fridge because for some reason I have an image of chefs coming home and they barely have anything in their fridge.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. Like, so until my husband and I had our son, our refrigerator was just condiments, literally like 20 different hot sauces, whatever, some like packets from, takeout or whatever. It was pretty sad. But since we've had our son, we've gotten into the groove of just having groceries around because we have this person at home who eats a lot. And yeah, I think it also just evolved to us having some like grown-up snacks as well as the kid snacks because we're like, oh, we kind of like this snack lifestyle, Yeah, now we're stocked with snacks at all times.
It's aperitivo hour 24/7. Walk me through like some pantry stuff versus some stuff that you would keep in the fridge. You already mentioned fruit. Why are you a big fruit fan/eater?
To be honest, it started off with just having it around for my son all the time because it's, healthy. But I feel like when you put together a platter like this, there should be some varied textures and flavors, and just having some fruit adds some like freshness and, especially when it's like hot outside, it's kind of like hydrating. I don't know, having some fresh fruit. And then it's a nice juxtaposition to, like salty olives or potato chips or whatever. I think like when you put together a platter like that, it's good to have a dynamic mix of all different textures and flavors. And
I was just in Portland, Oregon. We did a big event out there, like the one that we did together up in Wildflower Farms in Hudson. We were in Oregon wine country, Willamette Valley, and on the way back, the team ran to the farmer's market in Portland, and I picked up literally as much fruit as I could carry in my carry-on. I grabbed all the cherries because obviously they have spectacular cherries.
Oh, my God.
These beautiful little strawberries. They weren't that fraise des bois, but they were tiny like that and so sweet. And Angie, the most beautiful figs. I feel like they're hard to find in New York sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. I just got them recently. That's why I mentioned them. They're not usually in season right now. Like, as I said it, I was like, well, I guess that's not a summer fruit. But I don't know. I got some really great ones a week or two ago.
Cherry season came early in New York. Did you
It
notice?
did. And it was just the best cherry season ever. I mean, I'm kind of having like a sexy cherry summer right now.
That's next year's miniseries, Sexy Cherry Summer. Yeah, I've still got 2 bags full of the cherries from Portland, and I'm trying to make them last. But these figs, they were really big. They were that beautiful bright green color on the outside, and the inside was that rosy mauve color.
Yeah.
And they were so good.
Oh, man, I love a fig.
A fig, wrap it with a little prosciutto. Top anything with a fig, goes a long way. Okay, so you've got fruit on hand. What are some things that you always have in the pantry? You can buy them, leave them in there, and grab them when you need them.
I always get like a bunch of different types of crackers. I often get taralli, which are like these little Italian kind of bagel thing, I guess. Usually it's flavored with fennel seed and black peppercorn. My grandfather used to make them. So that's a good one. even with the crackers, I try to have varied shapes and textures and stuff. So I can't remember the brand, but I'll get these kind of long flatbread style crackers. Sometimes I'll get the like, what do they call it? They're like grissini, but cheese ones. I don't know. I feel like a mix of that is like really visually appealing, but also obviously the different textures and flavors are really delicious and fun to eat. So
Any tinned fish?
my husband is more of a tinned fish guy. Honestly, we haven't had that around, admittedly, for a while because I feel like when we're entertaining, I feel like, I don't know, it's like a little more of a polarizing thing. Not everyone loves it. I try to stick more to like the crowd pleasing things, but I love pickled mussels in a tin, or my husband loves sardines, loves them. So
I'm pro tinned fish, big time.
yeah, I should bring them back. You're right. I should just force people to eat it.
We'll be right back with today's guest. If you love all things Italy, you're going to love the next issue of Cherry Bomb's print magazine. Every single page is inspired by Italy. Our covers, all the features, recipes, and photos. Flipping through the issue is like taking a virtual visit. We have features on lots of Cherry Bomb faves, from Nancy Silverton to Haley Catalano, Mimi Thorson, and to Moo McPherson. Visit cherrybomb.com to subscribe or buy a single issue, or pick up an issue at your favorite bookstore or culinary shop this September. Also, our next Jubilee Conference is taking place in Los Angeles on Sunday, September 28th. If you're new to Jubilee, it's our conference that's all about connection, community, and celebrating the creatives who make the world of food and drink so vibrant. We're thrilled to be heading to LA and to give the city the love it deserves. If you're a Bomb Squad member, be sure to use the ticket link in your inbox for special pricing. Not a member? You can still join and receive the private link. Last thing, our next Bomb Squad member meeting is taking place Tuesday, August 26th on Zoom. It's one of our book club meetings, and our guest is none other than Kristen Kish, the host of Top Chef. We'll be talking with Kristen about her memoir, Accidentally on Purpose. You can read Kristen's book, or you can do what I did and listen to it. Kristen is the narrator and does a great job. If you're a member, check your inbox for details. Not a member? There is still time to join. All of these links are on cherrybomb.com and in our show notes. Walk me through cheese. What's some fun stuff to have?
Different textures and stuff. So like always like a spreadable one. The classic, I'm probably going to say it wrong, like borson, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like it's kind of cool because it's like interactive too, to have something spreadable. Like, if someone wants to, they can get in there and, spread on their cracker. Or if they're being lazy, they don't want to do any work, they could just grab the cube of cheese or whatever. But it adds to the experience, it's like something to do. So always something like spreadable. You can make your own kind of thing like that, which we've done in the past. We've taken fresh robiola cheese and then mixed it with kind of like confit garlic and shallot and like fresh herbs. But again, you don't have to do all the work. You could just buy the, borson. A mix of hard cheeses. I love a classic pecorino. I love pecorino pepato. It's this sheep's cheese that's studded with black peppercorns. That's from Sicily that my grandfather was obsessed with. That's a cool one. It's really pretty too. I know it's not Italian at all, but I love a really good Gouda. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah.
Any parm?
Yeah, definitely some parm. We'll take fresh mozzarella too and marinate that. The little teeny, what are they called? There's like the perlini ones or the ciliegine ones, and we'll just marinate those with olive oil and, chili flake and oregano. Again, it looks beautiful, but it's also, it just adds a little extra something to it.
How long do you have to marinate that for?
I don't know, like an hour minimum or something.
Okay.
But then, whatever you can do it the night before and just have it ready to go.
That's a great tip because you can do that so easily and so quickly.
Oh, totally. And same with marinated vegetables. I feel like it's really easy to buy stuff that's pre-made and kind of like zhuzh it up. You can buy marinated artichokes and then add fresh mint and some grated garlic and lemon juice and some Parmesan. And it's a totally different, elevated, but it kind of cuts out some of the work. This is also like, pertaining to like home situations. Like in the restaurants, we make everything from scratch and do a whole bunch of stuff. But I think, when it comes to entertaining at home, it's just nice sometimes to, make things a little easier on yourself.
And especially when it's so hot, that's such a nice way to eat. That just kind of grazing situation.
For sure. Yeah.
And if you have some fruit and some fresh veg on it, you'll feel better about the meal.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to talk about some of the restaurant dishes in a little bit, but I want to talk about your cookbook, Italian American. Is there anything easy and fun that's a good thing to make for the summer from your cookbook?
There's a cool marinated olive recipe in there that's kind of similar to like what we've been talking about. You kind of take some olives, basically like you infuse oil with smoked paprika or pimentone and garlic and add in orange peel and chili flake. And it just really elevates just, regular or old olives. Another one that I love is my grandma's roasted peppers. We have the recipe in the book for the whole thing. You take the peppers and you roast them and yada, yada. I guess, if you didn't want to do all that, you could just do kind of like the last half of the recipe, which is marinating them. You can buy pre-roasted peppers and marinate them. But that's like hands down one of my favorite snacks in the world. I love roasted peppers.
How do you roast them? I love to roast a vegetable, but I don't think I've roasted peppers in the oven. I usually do the old school thing. I'll just put them on some kind of utensil and just torch them literally right over my burner.
Oh my God. Yeah. 100%. Or you can, cut them open and lay them out skin side up and put them under a broiler to really char that skin really fast. But yeah, my grandma used to totally just like, I guess they're not really roasted, right? They're like, charred. Just like put them on top of the burner on the stove and just let it rip or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Throw it in the paper bag, all those things. I don't know. I think I learned that growing up on Staten Island, how to do that. Some of the useful things I learned growing up on Staten Island. It's so messy, though, when you do it that way over the burner and then you throw it in the paper bag and then you have to scrape the burned bits off and then the inside is so steamy. And
yeah, I guess it is.
It's a process.
I think it's...
But it's worth it.
I think it's so worth it.
Let's talk about Italy. You have visited Italy. How many times have you been there?
I don't even know.
Oh my God, many times you can't count?
Yeah, my husband and I have been there together like at least once a year for, I don't know, we've been together for like almost 20 years and we've always gone there like at least once a year. And yeah, I studied there in college for a summer.
Which part did you study in?
Florence.
Oh, how dreamy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But wait, you and Scott have been together for 20 years?
I guess I'm rounding up. We're together for 18 years. So
good for you guys.
Yeah. And we got married in Florence too.
You guys must have been babies.
We were together for 7 years or something before we got married. So yeah, whenever that was.
All right. So we've established you've been to Italy a lot. Favorite places in Italy? I mean, that might be impossible to pick, but
yeah, it's so hard because, oh God, Italy's so cool because it's just so diverse. Like every region is so different, even just the landscape, the food, just everything about it. But my husband and I both, we really love Sicily. Like we've had some really amazing times just renting a car and just driving across Sicily, sometimes not even with, a plan in mind. Maybe we have kind of an end goal, we're going to end up in Catania or whatever, and just like kind of stopping in towns along the way. I think those have been some of my favorite Italian experiences. I love Naples. I don't know what it is about that city, but just the culture and the people, like there's just, I don't know, something about it. It's just very unique. It's like a very soulful culture there. I don't know how to explain it, but
do you speak Italian?
I do, not well. I used to speak it much better, and I feel like, over the years it's kind of diminished. And I also speak more Spanish now, so they kind of get mixed together. I don't know. I would love to at one point just re-immerse myself in Italy and, spend like a straight month there or something just to, get that back, but maybe one day.
Is there anywhere on your Italy bucket list? Anywhere you haven't been that you're dying to go?
We really want to go to the Aeolian Islands. It's more just kind of natural beauty. It's pretty uninhabited and whatnot, but I don't know, the idea of like taking a boat from the north of Sicily and just cruising around all those little islands and, seeing the volcanoes and stuff, I just think that'd be a really cool perspective on Italy that I've never seen.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, just the idea of like being on a boat over there, just like that idea sounds great. So yeah.
Sounds like that Dolce & Gabbana perfume ad. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
The hot guy on the boat, and I'm like, that's the best ad ever. Who doesn't want to be on that boat?
100%.
When you go to Italy, have you done the chefy, foodie things, or do you kind of avoid those things?
We used to kind of, not seek out, but we have gone to, Michelin-starred restaurants and had these kind of fine dining type experiences in Italy. And to be honest, like my preference is just trattoria. The person cooking the food has to be like a minimum of like 70 years old, legit, just no-nos. I don't know. For me, that's what I seek out when I go to Italy. I feel like that's like the real authentic experience and the food that really speaks to me personally. I've had some cool fine dining experiences, but yeah, if I'm in Italy, I want that type of food. I want grandma's cooking for me.
Do you remember a few best bites that you've had over there?
Oh my God. I mean, we went to this restaurant in Sicily the one time that it was funny. In Catania, the reason we chose it, we were so intrigued by the reviews online. They were like very just polarizing. Some people were just like, this is the best meal of my life. And then some people were like, oh my God, like it took forever because this old lady just was literally making everything and it took 5 hours to dine or whatever. So we were like, this place sounds perfect, you know? So we went and it was so funny. We walk in and we saw the chef or whatever just sitting there. We sat down, we ordered our food. It took her another like 20 minutes to even just get up and like slowly walk toward the kitchen. And then we like heard her pounding our veal or whatever. Like, you know, it was hilarious. I mean, but we knew what we were in for. You know, our friends and I, we just kind of were like, all right, we're going to be here for a while, but this is going to be great. I swear to God, she must have, you know, hand rolled each noodle in our pasta plate right then and there. Or, you know, it seemed that way. But it was, oh my God, it was such a memorable meal. Like we had this hand rolled macaroni with, it was alla norma with, you know, eggplant and tomato, which is a classic Eastern Sicilian dish. Phenomenal. These zeppoli that were just really, you know, kind of just straightforward pâte à choux with granulated sugar, but it was just the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life.
Any vacation time for you and Scott this summer?
We've been kind of taking a lot of like long weekends and going to visit Scott's family in New Jersey, or Scott's brothers has a house on the Jersey Shore, so we've gone there. We went to see our friends in Florida for a weekend. I don't know, just like long weekends here and there. We've actually had like a pretty busy summer in terms of work.
And then you've got a big trip coming up, not quite this summer, but
we're going to the Wine and Food Festival in Hawaii in October. And I've never been to Hawaii, so I'm really excited about that. And we're bringing our son, who's 4. He's excited. Although I'm trying to explain to him, he keeps being like, are we going to see volcanoes and lava? Like, I don't want to go by the lava. I'm like, there's no lava. But, you know, he's excited.
little kids are so cute. That's a long flight with a little one. Are you ready?
I don't know if I'm ready per se, but I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna try my best. I'm gonna bring a lot of distractions, a lot of snacks. Again, the snacks cure everything. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Have a great time in Hawaii. I've only been to Kauai and absolutely loved it. The people are really wonderful, and it's one of the most beautiful spots on the planet. So I'm sure you're gonna have a great time. Let's talk about your restaurants. I just saw the finale of And Just Like That, the Sarah Jessica, you know, Sex and the City spinoff. And the final scene in the last episode was at San Sabino.
Yeah.
How'd that come to be?
I don't know how it came to be that, you know, they approached us and we were really thrilled about that to be chosen. I mean, they've featured a lot of cool restaurants in this season. It was really an interesting experience. I've never kind of seen production quite like that. You know, they intentionally wet the sidewalk and, you know, they brought in all these props. Like, I couldn't believe it. They brought in their own table lamps and curtains and, you know, things that we already have, but they like changed all of it, you know, to make it look like they wanted to look. And it was really impressive how they do it all. Every single person in the room's an actor, you know, the servers, it's like just 50 people rolling in there to just, you know, film this 3-minute scene or whatever, but not even 3 minutes. Yeah, it was cool.
I don't know the technical terms for these things, but it looked like they had a big crane outside that pulled back.
100%. Yeah. Oh my God. And like big lights, and there were all these people crowding on the streets kind of seeing what was going on. And it was a really cool experience. Yeah.
Where did you and Scott get to watch it from?
We just watched, where were we?
You weren't in the kitchen, were you?
Watch like the filming?
The filming. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were on site. We kind of just like popped our head out. The restaurant's pretty small, so we kind of just like popped our head out of the kitchen and saw the filming. So it was cool.
Did you try to get a cameo? Were you like, can I bring the food out to the table?
Yeah, I did not. So what's weird is we made all this food, and I don't even think you can see a speck of food in the final cut, you know?
I was very excited when I saw that it was San Sabino when she walks around the corner in the dress, a very pretty dress, because the ending's a little dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you watched the full season yet.
I didn't watch but I've seen the clip, and yeah, you see her like run across Jane Street and, you know, open the door. My favorite design features of the restaurant is our handle on the door has like an S, and on the other side it's another S. So then like when you see them at certain angles, you see like SS, which is pretty cool.
What else is going on at the restaurants? The menus at both your places, San Sabino and Don Angie, are just, it's one sexy thing after another. And if you only go with 2 people, it's painful because you can only order a certain amount of food. But what are you so excited about on the menu right now?
This week we're putting on it's something we've done in the past, but it's like one of our favorites, like a fresh melon sorbetto with little like melon balls and a white Lambrusco granita with pink peppercorn. I think really pairs really well with melon. It's kind of like floral and just like very summery, just perfect.
Is that a starter or a dessert?
It's a dessert. like a sorbet.
With you two, you never know. You play with ingredients in such an intriguing
Yeah.
way.
Oh, totally. We actually have a really fun starter at Don Angie right now that's a riff on I don't know, like a Hawaiian pizza, the flavor profile of Hawaiian pizza. It's a pineapple salad with like candied hazelnuts and this smoky copa from Brooklyn Cured. They're in Brooklyn and they make, various salumi, but it's cool. It's cured with tasso spice, so it's kind of got this like Cajun vibe to it. Yeah, that's like a cool starter with Thai basil and feta. At San Sabino, we just put on this new crudo with yellowtail kingfish and roasted Jimmy Nardello peppers. I think I brought this up last time I talked to you. But I just love, as I mentioned before, roasted peppers. They like remind me of my grandma. So we roast them and marinate them kind of along the lines of like how my grandma used to season her peppers. So I think that's why I love that.
You chefs love your Jimmy Nardello peppers.
Yeah, me too. I just like the name of it, but...
Is there some Jimmy Nardello pepper association that's paying all you chefs to put these on your menu?
There might be. I don't know.
No. No, they're very good. If you see them in the farmer's market, pick them up. They're yummy. And sweet.
Yeah, I think that's what's cool about them is they have a really intense pepper flavor, but they're not like super spicy, so they're very versatile.
But the two restaurants are doing good? Any
Yeah.
tips on how to get a reservation these days?
They're both really tiny. San Sabino's like 45 seats. Don Angie's like 55 seats. So, we always get people like, there's no reservations. There's honestly like, they go live 7 days in advance at 9 a.m. And
only 7 days in advance?
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So, people will sign on right at 9 a.m. and just kind of keep clicking. And, unfortunately, because the restaurants are so small, they do go very fast. But we do save room for walk-ins at both restaurants at the bar, as well as right now we have outdoor seating at both restaurants. So I think there's even more opportunity to fill seats just because we have more seats available now. But a lot of people will come right at like 4 p.m. right before we open, and they'll like wait in line essentially.
And both places are on Open Table.
Yes, yeah.
So you can make your res on Open Table. I want to talk about your family bakery in Cleveland, Rito's Bakery. It was open for 60 years, founded by your beloved grandfather, and it closed this year. 60 years is a long time. I'm just wondering, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it honestly hasn't like sunk in. I think I need to go back to Cleveland and walk in and really, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I know this happened, but I still I don't know. I just really haven't like wrapped my head around it. But it's bittersweet. I'm just happy for my father and his siblings. They've worked there for 50 years or whatever, like their whole lives. And it's not an easy job. My dad's worked 6 days a week since forever and doing like really hard work, and, on his feet. And I'm really like happy for my dad to finally like relax and retire. That's like the one silver lining for me. It's always hard to get my dad to like, do stuff, come visit me, do whatever. He's always like, I got to work. But now it's like, no, you don't,
So we'll see Dad kicking it back at the bar at Don Angie.
Yeah, hopefully.
Dad, come to New York. Have your sexy Italian summer.
Yeah,
come sit at the bar.
Sexy Italian summer. Yeah.
But you worked at Rito's when you were younger, and it was sort of your first introduction to this world.
I've been immersed in the food industry my whole life. Even before I worked at the bakery, like it just, every family gathering, like everyone would be like, oh, how many hard rolls we sell today? It was like, it's just like the topic of discussion. So it was just very much a part of my life, my whole life. I think I started working there when I was like 12 or 13. I'll never forget. I was like sitting watching TV and my dad he's like, hey. And I like turned around. He just like threw like a Rito's Bakery like polo shirt at me. And I like caught it. He's like, put that on. And he's like, get in the car. And he just took me there. I was like, all right, I guess this is what I'm doing or whatever. But yeah, very much a big part of my life. And it was always so special to me. And it just always felt so natural to me to be in that setting. And I worked in the front quite a bit, actually, kind of like, selling the pastries to the customers or whatever. And I used to love, like, if someone came in a bad mood, I'd love to, like, kind of play a little game where I try to, like, make them smile before they left. Just, like, that hospitality part of it was always something that I, like, loved. Because who's going to be sad walking out with, a donut or whatever? Yeah, it was great.
I love that your dad just sort of, like, kidnapped you and put you to work. I love that story. Tell us what some of the greatest hits were at Rito's.
So my grandfather was Sicilian, so cannoli was their big thing. And he took a lot of pride in the fact that they handmade all their shells, which truly isn't a common thing. A lot of bakeries, in fact, I want to say almost like all of them, they just like buy the shell because it's really hard to make. It's kind of like not worth your while, at some point. But my grandfather, they like handmade all their shells, and it was a really light, crispy, delicate. It was a really good cannoli shell. So that casada cake, which interestingly enough, it was like this Midwestern style of casada cake that I didn't learn until I was older was not true casada cake. It was like basically like this layered strawberry and custard with like yellow sponge cake situation that they would call casada. But then they also served this one that had like cannoli cream inside of it and then like rum soaked cake that they also called casada. I don't know. It was interesting. Those were some of the specialties. A whole bunch of different like Italian cookies, like rainbow cookies, pinoli cookies.
The
all that
classics.
stuff. Yeah.
Did you know your grandfather?
Yeah. He actually just passed away like I want to say 2 years ago. So that was the impetus for, closing the store really was when he passed. But yeah, I was pretty close to all my grandparents growing
What
up.
did you learn from your grandfather that you put into practice at the restaurants today?
I think we honestly just share a lot of personality traits. Maybe that's genetic or whatever. Like he was a very like kind of like strong-willed person, kind of like hard-headed. I mean, I guess it's corny, but to kind of like follow your dreams kind of thing. He would always tell me about how when he moved to America, like all of his siblings and his cousins, everyone were bricklayers. That was where the money was at. That's where the opportunity was at. But he just was so passionate about baking and he wanted to pursue this path and he just did it. So I think, that sentiment or whatever, that idea of following your dreams is something that I learned from him.
Anything on the menu that's a tribute to Rito's or that you're thinking about maybe putting on the menu?
I mean, there's little hints of it like everywhere, really. One thing that just pops to mind right now is we have a dessert at San Sabino that it's kind of like a pina colada vibe. It's like a pineapple sorbetto with this like almond granita, but the almond granita is like a very Sicilian kind of thing. And then it has these broken pinoli cookies on there, which I don't know. They remind me of my grandpa. It was something that my grandpa made at his store.
What was your grandfather's name?
Santo.
Angie, last question. If you could time travel to Italy right now, where would you go and what would you be eating?
I think some of the cool kind of like imagery of Italy that comes to mind is 60s and 70s, like on a beach, like on the Amalfi Coast or Capri, kind of that like, I don't know, I could see like Sophia Loren under an umbrella or something. I don't know, like that kind of vibe. Some like seafood pasta, like a clam pasta, maybe a seafood salad, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, 60s, 70s vibe. I could see you with your eyeliner and your dresses and your seafood and all that. That would be great. All right, Angie, you're the bomb. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun.
That's it for today's show. If you missed last week's Sexy Italian Summer with JJ Martin of La Double J, be sure to give a listen. And I would love for you to follow Radio Cherry Bomb on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, wherever you listen, and leave a rating and a review. If you're already a follower, thank you. Check out the links in our show notes for our magazine, Jubilee tickets, and Cherry Bomb membership info. Our theme song is by the band Tra La La. Special thanks to Good Studio in Brooklyn and the Studio Portland in Maine. Our producers are Catherine Baker and Jenna Sadu, and our talent guru is London Crenshaw. Thanks for listening, everybody. Ciao, Bella.